Thank you for introduction, and good afternoon, everyone. I have no disclosure. Introduction. HANA-type interstitial cystitis, non-HANA-type interstitial cystitis, and hypersensitive bladder separated or diagnosed by endoscopic findings. That is BPS type 3 to 1. Because they share similar symptom profile, such as bladder pain or discomfort, urinary urgency or urinary frequency. So the aim is to compare clinical manifestations among these three. Materials and methods are below. This is a retrospective review, and we reviewed female patients with IC or HSB who underwent the hydrodistension at our institution from 2008 to 2017. A total of 134 patients are included. Here are results. Regarding comorbidities, HSC patients had higher comorbidities of diabetes, and NHIC had psychiatric disorders more frequently than the other two. This is the clinical parameters among, but only treatment-naive patients. HSC patients are older than NHIC patients, and about of OSSI, HSC is higher than HSB. Regarding pain scale, it equals best score. HSC patients are higher than NHIC patients. And bladder capacity at hydrodistension of HSC patients are smaller than HSB patients. And the last, global response rate to hydrodistension in patients with HSC was higher than HSB patients, 89%. To summarize, HSC patients were more aged and symptomatic, and they had better response to hydrodistension. On the other hand, there is no difference with clinical parameters between NHIC and HSB. In conclusion, HSC were distinctive clinical characteristics while indistinguishable between NHSC and HSB. Thank you very much.
Thank you. While we're waiting for questions, I'd just like to make a comment about Table 1 in the paper. The non-Hunter IC and the HSB patients' mean age is 53 and 64. And if you look at patients that in the United States are being diagnosed with bladder pain syndrome, it's mostly women in their 30s and 40s. So we always have to think about the context of the investigator, who's being diagnosed in this particular setting, and there can be some big differences across cultures and medical systems. So we have a question over here.
Actually, two questions. How did you define, so what was the gold standard for you when you were defining hunters?
Sorry.
What was the gold standard? How did you define hunters versus non-hunters? And how did you define bladder sensitivity? And then I also had a question about your statistics, like collagen diseases. You have 15 versus 3 versus 0, yes. And that's barely, I mean, it's not statistically significant, but then you have 5, 2, and 4, and that is statistically significant. It just seemed like something wasn't quite right in the calculations there.
Sorry.
So let's start with the first question, which is
one question at a time. Sorry.
The definition of ulcerative interstitial cystitis. How do you define that in your environment?
Environment?
In your paper, what is an ulcer to you? How do you define that? That's the question?
That's the question, and then the question is, what's the last category, differentiate between the non-ulcer and the HSB?
Sorry, one more please.
I'm a co-author,
Yes.
Dr. Igawa from the University of Tokyo. Our definition of Hanner and no Hanner is based on endoscopic findings of the presence or absence of Hanner region.
So
That is a
endoscopically
definition.
defined.
Yeah.
Okay. And if they bled, that defined the BPS. If they didn't bleed with hydrodistension, that meant they had hypersensitive bladder, but not IC. That's how you. Okay, I got it now.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
And then the other question was just about the statistics.
Your second question.
Sorry.
Second
Your
question
second-
is table 2 and the different comorbidities.
Yes, I know.
It just looked like the statistics might be wrong. I don't know because 1530 looks like very
Yeah.
different than
Yeah.
524, which is 0.051.
Yeah, I think you are right. There is a tendency, but the number of patients is not enough, so we couldn't find the statistical significance between Hanna type and the other type in terms of comorbidity of collagen disease. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, and then on the far side.
Mainly from Taiwan. From your study report, you have very high percentage of Hanna region.
Yes.
Yeah, as I know, the so-called journal paper told the Hanna region is not so great, so high in the world. But how come in your paper is so high, even more than 50% was Hanna region? Can you explain why?
Thank you for question. This is our results, and
Is there any special, definition of your Hanna region that caused a so high percentage
yes.
of your patients?
Well, we don't know exactly the reason, but one of the possible reasons is our institute is a specially referral hospital. So we have many patients from the all over Japan. So I believe more severe cases visit us much more than other centers.
So
That
it's
makes larger number in the Hanna type.
So it's
So
because
perhaps-
your hospital is tertiary hospital.
Yeah, exactly.
Refer
Yeah,
patient
yeah,
from
yeah.
here.
That is
so
one of the possibilities.
in Japan, can you estimate what is the percentage of Hanna region in your country?
Yeah, actually, we are now collecting national data, but we haven't got exactly the percentage of Hanna type in Japan. But maybe next year,
Okay.
I will show you.
Thank you.
the
We're going to need to
percentages.
move on. I appreciate that, and thanks for everyone's questions. Thank you.
Thank you.